All right, let's talk about something that I know so many of us feel. It's this weird paradox, right? Where you're incredibly ambitious, you have these huge dreams, but you struggle to find the motivation to actually do anything about them. Today, we're going to dive into the fascinating psychology of what it means to be lazy but ambitious. I mean, does this question hit a little too close to home for you? Because it does for me. You've got these massive, world-changing ideas swirling around in your head, a truly epic vision for your life. But when it comes time to execute, to actually do the work, it feels like you just can't find the keys to your own engine. And this right here, this is that frustrating gap we all live in. On one side, you've got the grand plans. On the other, well, the daily reality. It's the difference between wanting to climb a mountain and not even being able to find the energy to put on your hiking boots. This disconnect is the absolute core of what we're going to explore. So, first up, let's really dig into this conflict, the ambitious paradox. We're going to explore why this feeling exists in the first place and, why it's so common for people with big dreams. Here's a spoiler. It's not a personal feeling. It's actually a feature of how our brains are wired. Okay, next, we are going to completely challenge the story we tell ourselves about this feeling. Because the most common explanation we land on, that we're just lazy, it's just plain wrong. It is time we totally debunk that lazy label. Let me just say that again because this is really, really important. You are not lazy. What you're experiencing is not some kind of character flaw or a moral failing. Nope, it's a biological and psychological response that's happening for a very specific reason. This quote, this is basically the key to the whole thing. This isn't about a lack of willpower. It's about your brain making a very logical calculation. It's resisting spending energy on something when the reward, the payoff, just isn't clear or compelling enough. And that leads us right into the science behind it all. See, to understand this resistance, we've got to understand our brain's default setting. You can think of it as its built-in efficiency mode. So here's the key term we're going to work with: mental efficiency. At its core, our brain evolved over thousands of years to be incredibly good at one thing: conserving energy. Every single action is a calculated risk. Your brain's number one job is to avoid wasting precious fuel on stuff that won't lead to a worthwhile outcome. It's a survival mechanism, really. So I want you to try a new metaphor, because this reframes the whole situation. Stop thinking of your brain as this lazy boss who just doesn't want to work. Instead, think of it as a brilliant, hyper-efficient CEO of a company. And that company is your body and your mind. And it's managing its most valuable resource, your energy. And what does any good CEO do? They obsess over return on investment, right? ROI. They are not going to pour resources into a project unless they see a clear and valuable payoff. Your brain is doing the exact same thing every single moment of every day, asking, is this action worth the energy it's going to cost me? So, okay, if our brain is this efficient CEO, how does that actually translate into the feeling that we call motivation? Well, that's where we find the logic behind it all. It's not magic, it's a cold, hard calculation. And here is the most crucial point to get. Your motivation system is working perfectly. It's not broken at all, it's just incredibly selective. And that's by design. It's a feature, not a bug. It's designed to only switch on for tasks that pass that CEO's cost-benefit analysis. So every time you're faced with a task, your brain runs this lightning-fast subconscious check. First, it goes, okay, how much energy is this going to take? Then it scans for the reward. What's in it for me, either now or later? And finally, it makes a decision. Greenlight the energy or deny it. If that reward feels too vague, too far away, or just too small compared to the effort, the answer is a hard denied. Think about it like this. You've got two tasks here. Both can take a lot of effort, a lot of time. Doing your taxes and planning a dream vacation. But why does one feel like a miserable chore while the other feels fun and exciting? It's all about the perceived reward. That vacation is linked to a super clear, compelling, positive outcome, so your brain happily approves the energy. Taxes? Yeah, not so much. All right, so this is all great information, right? We know our brain is a CEO focused on rewards, but what do we do with that knowledge? How do we actually use this to harness our own ambitious minds and move from just thinking to, to doing? This is the most important question. The old way, the one we all try, is to use brute force, willpower, to fight against our brain's nature. But that's exhausting, and it almost never works long term. The much smarter way is to learn to work with its natural operating system. So the big mindset shift here is this. Stop trying to force yourself to be motivated. The goal is to become a master marketer. You have to learn how to sell your tasks to your brain's CEO. You have to frame them in a way that makes the reward so clear, so compelling, that it feels totally worth the investment of energy. And here are 4 really powerful ways to do just that. First, connect the tiny task to the big vision. You're not just writing one email, you're taking the first step to landing that dream client. See the difference? Second, break down those huge goals into tiny, rewarding steps. Don't try to write a novel, just focus on writing one amazing paragraph and let yourself feel the win. Third, create your own little mini rewards, maybe a 5-minute break or a great cup of coffee after you finish a tough task. And finally, and this is probably the most important one, always remind yourself of the big why. Make the payoff totally obvious to your brain. So I'm going to leave you with this question. I want you to look at your to-do list, not as a list of chores, but as a series of investment proposals for your brain's CEO. How can you rewrite every single item to highlight the reward, to make it an absolutely irresistible deal? Because that is the secret to bridging the gap between your 100-terabyte vision and your everyday motivation. How will you start speaking your ambitious brain's language?